Hey, what's up guys? Phoenix here. This video is going to be another Yu-Gi-Oh card review / discussion type video on a new card just spoiled for release in the OCG set Raging Tempest, the set that we should be getting around the February to March 2017 time frame. It is the set that comes after Invasion Vengeance for us, and it comes after Invasion of Venom for the OCG. So like I said, we should be getting it around February, March of 2017, and the OCG should be getting the pack in or around a month's time frame, within or about a month from now. But the card in question is Association Tierra, or the direct English translation of that name is apparently Tierra the Planet Forger, but it's expected for its TCG name to be Tierra the Goddess of Rebirth, to directly match with Sophia the Goddess of Rebirth, because both of them share the same OCG name in the form of Association Sophia or Association Tierra. But this card is meant to be a win condition the turn that it is summoned. Well, not really the turn that it's summoned, but it's meant to basically end the game within a couple of turns. It's very much a game ender like Sophia is. For those of you that remember what Sophia, the Goddess of Rebirth, does, that card essentially is designed to end the game when summoned, if you are able to achieve its astronomically high summoning condition. This card has sort of the same stigma going on about it, but it is actually really cool in terms of design. Now, the artwork is Infernoid Tierra with Apocalyphort Towers and Apocalyphort Skybase basically being amalgamated together into some weird behemoth that goes against every law of nature that I possibly know of, and probably every law of nature in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. But it also has stats that directly reflect Sophia. It is a level 11 Fiend Light Monster with 3400 attack and 3600 defense. Now, if you remember Sophia's stats, Sophia is a Dark Fairy with 3600 attack and 3400 defense. So it is a direct palette swap of Sophia, being a Light Fiend instead of a Dark Fairy, and its attack and defense stats are swapped from Sophia's, being 34 attack instead of 36 attack, and 36 defense instead of 3400 defense. Now, it has a couple of effects, and one of those includes its summoning condition, and oh boy. But anyway, this card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by shuffling 10 other cards with different names from your hand or side of the field into the main deck or extra deck, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. So this thing requires an 11 card investment to summon it. It has a higher and harder summoning restriction than Sophia, Goddess of Rebirth, has, and I never thought that I would see the day where there was a card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh that required more to summon it than Sophia does. Sophia has an infinitely easier summoning condition for practically the same effect that this card achieves. Sophia just requires you to tribute a Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monster from anywhere on the field, so it can be your opponent's and your own to summon it. And then you had to have it in your hand, and then you had to have a way to facilitate a Ritual, Xyz, Synchro, and Fusion summon if your opponent didn't have any of those available for you to utilize. Now, this card, you have to have 10 different cards on field and in your hand, 10 different named cards, and you have to shuffle them all into the deck and summon this card. So you have to have this card in hand plus 10 other cards. That's absolutely that's astonishing. That is so many cards that you have to summon this card. But anyway, it doesn't really stop there, because if it did stop there, the card would be absolutely not worth playing at all. And even then, it still is more than likely not worth playing. Sophia is definitely more than likely the better option if you were going to go the route of one of these cards, but this card is a bit more generic. If your deck that you were trying to play this in can't support all those summoning mechanics, this is a generic alternative for you. But anyway, its other two effects are, this special summon of this card cannot be negated. Thank fucking God. Jesus, if I was shuffling 10 cards back into my deck for this thing to get like warning or solemn striked, man, that would be the bee's knees. That would be the icing on top of the cake if you went -10 to summon this card and it got negated by strike or warning. Strike obviously being a 3 of in this format. Then you have decks like Magispector running around, which effectively have 3 more strikes that are searchable. Like, come on now, that would have made this card absolutely unplayable if the special summon could be negated, but thank Christ, the special summon can't be negated. But second effect, if this card is special summoned, which why would it not be, shuffle all the cards on the field in each player's hands, in their graveyards, and face up Pendulum monsters in the extra deck into the deck. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to the activation of this effect. So, similarly to Sophia, Goddess of Rebirth, Sophia banishes everything from both players' fields, graveyards, and hands except for Sophia. This card shuffles all other cards in hand, field, graveyard, and the face-up Pendulum extra deck into the deck. So it effectively is trying to end the game so that your opponent can't draw that forbidden monkey board and, you know, establish a 1-card pendulum scale to pendulum their entire resources out of their extra deck. Thank God this one addresses that problem, because there's literally like the only one card skill in the game right now is DD Savant Thomas, and that requires you to have a card in the extra deck to pick up. But I digress. This card is essentially the reverse of Tierra in every single way. Tierra banishes all the cards. This card shuffles them back into the deck. It's reversed stats, it's reversed type, it's reversed attribute, it's reversed effect. So basically it's a very cool like bit of collector's piece cards. It's a counterpart to Sophia, so in the lore this is probably significant, but Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have an official lore per se outside of like the Dual Terminal series, so unless this has a link in there, I'm not really sure where this is going to like lie in terms of its entire like necessity of existing, basically, if I can speak words coherently. But basically it's a really cool looking card. Its artwork is interesting. Like I said, it looks like something that nature shouldn't allow, and its entire basis of existing is very cool, being the antithesis of Sophia, goddess of rebirth. Now I do wish the name had been a little bit different, so it could be more of an antithesis of Sophia, like the goddess of like destruction or the goddess of death or something like that, instead of just being another goddess of rebirth, because that's kind of missing a bit of the point. But yeah, it's got an interesting effect, but it's so resource intensive to summon that I don't think it's ever going to be relevant in any way, shape, or form, and I don't think it's going to even be playable. But like I said, it is an option, a generic option for you if your deck cannot support Sophia's summoning condition of requiring those 4 different mechanics to be on the board. But it makes you pay for it by the fact that it needs 10 other cards, including itself, not including itself, 10 other cards and then itself to summon itself from your hand. But I want to know what you guys think about this card. If you think it's cool, if you like its design, all that sort of nonsense. Do you think there's any deck that might actually be able to play this card? I mean, there are decks that are doing a lot of different resource like gaining. Like I could definitely see I could see this card being summonable in the Draco Pal deck, where post-adjusted list, where basically you would end with 11 to 12 cards, and they would all have different names on your field and in your hand. This was definitely playable in that deck potentially, but even then it wouldn't be ideal, but it was definitely theoretically addressable and summonable turn 1. But if there's any decks that you think might be able to play this card, let me know in the comments down below. If you think this card's cool, if you like its design, if you like the fact that it may actually be playable, who knows? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But other than that, as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description to Facebook, Twitch, and background music playlist links. Those are resources for you to use as per usual. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you know some people that might also like my content, I encourage you to share my content around to them as well, and maybe encourage them to subscribe as well. Like I've said before and many times in the past, helping the growth of this channel as a whole is the best way to show your support at the current point in time. But other than that, thank you for your time as usual. Again, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below and any expected uses you'd find for the card. And if you have any other cards that you'd like me to review, definitely leave those in the comments down below as well. But other than that, as I've already said, thank you for your time as usual. And as always, guys, take care.